you're taking risks to get in there. This isn't necessarily a nice place.
Before you go into areas, you get a bit of a twitch.
You push your luck, but that's the sort of game that we're in.
This was actually worse than we thought.
Stand by!
The small arms fires out pretty accurate.
Watch my strike!
You could feel the percussions as they were going past.
And then bang.
With that strike!
It's not plain sailing out there.
It's going over.
You can have dramas.
It's gone. It's gone.
Ah! Been fucking shot! Man down! Man down! Man down!
These are the Pathfinders. They're the parachute regiment's elite combat troops. They've never been filmed before. The platoon has a simple motto. First in. Operating alone, they go further and deeper into the heart of enemy territory than any other regular unit. It's early morning, it's freezing cold, and it's Kent. They're training. It's just days before their deployment into Afghanistan. Led by Major Matt Taylor, there's just 45 men in this elite corps.
This would be very much the high end of the warfighting spectrum, so this would be a last resort.
They'll form a vital part of the ongoing mission against the Taliban.
We're there to find them, to disrupt them and to locate them, and then pass that information back for the rest of the brigade.
All the guys within the Pathfinders are volunteers, so they all want to be here, they want to be doing the job, so in terms of their sort of professionalism and their abilities, they're probably at a higher level than a mainstream battalion.
It's a job that appeals to me. You know, it's actual, you know, it's almost down to you and your rifle. It's sort of one man and his kit. You know, if you're squared and your equipment's squared and your personal skills are on top form, then everything else will fall into place.
Red! Up!
The platoon's greatest asset is their ability to survive for long periods with little need of assistance.
They're professional soldiers, hugely reliant on their own self-confidence, their own daring spirit, and a high degree of self-reliance.
Their self-sufficiency depends a great deal on their equipment. They're the first unit to take the brand new Jackal armoured reconnaissance truck into battle. Each one costs £640,000. It's an all-terrain vehicle, it's armoured for protection against roadside bombs or IEDs, but it's never been used in anger before. We're the first journalists allowed to film and live with the Pathfinders as they find and engage with the Taliban in southern Afghanistan, the most dangerous place on earth. This is the Pathfinders' new home, and they'll be here for the next 6 months. Their compound at the huge Camp Bastion base of the British military is the hub of their activities. They've only been here a few days, but Matt Taylor has already planned the soldiers' first mission into the remotest part of Afghanistan. Operation Talanda is a 6-week mission, from Bastion up the Musakala Valley to the furthest point of Helmand Province, the Kajaki Dam, and the central Badlands of Afghanistan. It's an enormous blind spot, with the district of Zamindavar at its heart. As part of the deal to allow me to join them in battle, the Pathfinders insisted I learned how to use the commander's machine gun. I did, but on condition that as a journalist, I'd not be expected to fire. men are practicing and familiarising themselves with their new kit.
Let's go and meet some of the characters, shall we? Who do we have here? Our first contestants.
And trying out our own cameras.
We have one of the Allier men of the platoon. As you see, this season's wear consists of plate carrier, alley pistol, contraband shoes. We have a man known as Foz. Women want to be with him, men want to be him. Look at that t-shirt.
Seems like you guys are looking to get up close and personal.
Oh yeah, that's the camel. He's the driver, makes camel noises. It's his responsibility to keep us alive by not putting the vehicle on its roof. This is our vehicle, also known as Dakota. Here we have your general purpose machine gun. Here we've got two javelins, probably about £150,000 worth of missile. My weapon of choice, the 40mm grenade machine gun. We've got about 200 litres of water on this bad boy, 150 litres of fuel. Another good weapon, the 50 cal machine gun. Today we're going out on a patrol where no other conventional forces have been for a while.
Out from Camp Bastion and day one of the mission. 3 men to a truck, they'll eat, sleep and fight from the vehicles for the next 6 weeks. The task to disrupt the Taliban and bring home intelligence from the most remote areas where the influence of the Kabul government is scant and where Western forces rarely make an appearance. The Pathfinder's mission has started, but it's already stopped. It's day 2 and the fuel line's broken on a Jackal vehicle.
We've pulled into Forward Operating Base Edinburgh, which is in the north of Helmand Province. As you can see, the line of trucks has been here overnight. They're going to stay here for at least the rest of the day. Some of the guys, as you can see, just walking past, they've been living on the outside of the truck here. As soon as the part arrives and is fixed, then the Pathfinders will move out to begin their proper mission.
And that's it, 50 press-ups, innit?
Mac, the cruelest patrol commander, making his men do push-ups.
Look into the camera, boy.
I'm looking in the camera. Look at me teeth. How many you done now?
He played the game. He lost.
How's it going, mate?
Not bad, mate. Be good when I get this on.
At least it arrived, eh?
Yeah.
The Pathfinders prefer the desert. They'll be there the next day. The destination is Amindavar, 3 days of driving. It lies in a crucial part of Helmand Province, allocated to the British as part of the NATO-led International Security Force, or ISAF. Helmand is Afghanistan's largest province, and the Taliban are here in large numbers. Its people are hostile to all outsiders, deeply religious and conservative. The remote communities cling to the so-called green zone, a narrow strip of vegetation where the river runs through the desert. Its opium poppies make this the greatest source of the world's heroin. It's lethal territory. Zamindavar is beyond safety. The soldiers are tense as they approach. Intelligence chatter indicates key Taliban commanders live here. Well within range, they sit and wait. Will the Taliban attack? Orders are to provoke a response, to test their firepower, to stir things up. That's an RPG. They engage.
I think it might have been an RPG fired from a motorcycle. We saw a bike going across very fast, and we saw a plume of smoke in front of us.
A show of force from a Harrier jet. Pathfinders are looking for firing points.
Now, if there's nothing firing back, let's just delay sort of 5 minutes. The minute they open up again, we'll do it. I just want to see if they stop. I don't want to give all our cards away in one
That's the whistle of incoming rounds. That's closer. The fighting intensifies.
All call signs. Watch 0 Charlie Tracer. Watch Tango, watch my Tracer.
Small arms fall short, but mortars smash into the desert next to the Jackal trucks. We're on their territory. Their weapons are ranged on this spot.
Opal 80 Alpha, Opal 80 Alpha, this is a finder, a 1-4 radio check over.
The men can call on artillery and air support, but radio communications are down.
Send it through those means.
The request for long-range artillery has to be routed via a landline at headquarters.
A broadsword 0, a finder 1-4, continuing fire mission, Taliban mortar team.
You got IDF at the rear, yeah?
They see a lone motorcyclist behind them.
Looks like smoke. Looks like adjusting it on, mate. Right, hold on. You see where they follow the left-hand track down from there? One lone side. Yeah?
They think he's firing or at least spotting for the Taliban. The Taliban have the experience. They've been defending this pass since the Russians first came.
Another round behind us, Jim. Landed it.
Yeah.
On the other side. They're talking about moving the call sign north.
They manoeuvre to a new firing point, but the Taliban have moved closer as well.
Very small, very active now. It's coming up on the left side. This guy's truck.
A long-range artillery round goes in, fired from over 50 miles away, but there's an instant return of fire. And they just keep firing back. Mortars land just yards away.
Behind us, 50 feet, 50 metres.
The Pathfinder's up the ante again. Sergeant Scotty Patterson calls for a multiple airstrike.
4-1, that's a good copy. I'll give you a set rep soon as we've got the rounds on the ground.
Enormous bombs smash into the compounds where the firing's been coming from. It's the largest drop of ordnance on a single target recorded in this part of the war in Afghanistan. But within minutes, it was clear just how tough the Taliban are. They attack again.
Incoming.
That's 2 rounds in the same place.
Yeah, told you, DF the pass. Yeah, we need to fucking move.
With light fading, the Pathfinders have moved to a defensive camp for the night. Incredibly, it's only 1,500 metres back from the compounds, at the foot of the pass, into the next valley.
Good contact today?
Nice. Read back 4-1 Sierra.
So Matt, what about today? What do you learn?
Well, our task was to come in here and basically get information on enemy forces and local nationals. I think we quite quickly found the enemy forces.
No, the RPG was the first one, yeah. That went over the top of the two. Yeah.
For about 40 k's all the way to here, we'd been watched in and channelled in by the enemy.
And then the second one landed slightly behind it? Or
behind it.
They've obviously got a couple of well-trained mortar fire controllers up here somewhere. So we used basically air power to hit the targets that they were identified at.
Because they can just move around on the mopeds fast and furious, we can't get too close to them with the wagons. It's a bit of a Mickey Mouse game, really, try to get in there.
The impression we were getting from the various feeds was that they were quite surprised we were here.
All right, Mark.
I'm good, mate, thanks.
Does it hurt?
Yeah.
Minor ailments.
It may seem like we didn't achieve much, but we actually found a quite large grouping of the enemy in a certain location, which all adds value at the higher level.
And that gets passed up, that's the point.
Of course, that was passed immediately, and longer sit-ups will follow during the evening. Yeah.
Right, thanks.
Well done. Well done, sir.
In this environment, each man needs 11 litres of water a day, but even then, it barely quenches the thirst. It's beautiful but hostile here, dangerously so. It's freezing in winter, but now pushing 60 degrees. It's why central authority barely exists beyond the main towns and cities. But it's here the Taliban thrive, familiar with the conditions and rudimentary paths. 3 days in and we've crossed the pass into the neighbouring valley.
And there is a pass, I mean that's probably one there somehow.
Matt has sent out part of the platoon to find Taliban routes and disrupt their movements.
They know we have to come out. They're watching us, they're waiting for us. I just think if we set it up properly, then we can get something out of it.
While the Pathfinders are identifying areas of extreme Taliban influence, they're also trying to engage with the local people. It's called testing the atmospherics, getting information for headquarters on how people view the Taliban, the Kabul authorities, and the coalition forces. But just how far does the writ of the country's government run in these remote areas? Hardly any outsiders come to this valley. It's been over a year since the ISAF forces even passed through, and they didn't actually stop. But what struck me was how this side of the mountain seemed so much quieter, almost a world apart from Zamindavar.
So you ever see any sort of representatives from the Afghan government?
Since 3 years, none of them shop.
No facility, no school,
no school, no clinics,
nothing at all.
Clearly nervous but determined, village elders approach the soldiers to talk. Their body language is clear from the beginning. They're furious at the intrusion into their daily lives.
We don't need power, we don't need drinking water, we don't need anything. We just need the security. So whenever there's one single fire on you guys are dropping the bombs and killing several local people.
May I say that, and I do stress this, when we open fire, we are very much opening fire at the Taliban.
The reaction in every village we visited was the same.
Is it not just a case of anyone who turns up just causes trouble?
Yeah, that's exactly
that's just
what it
bad news, whoever comes into town.
Yeah, it is, and I think because this is sort of right at the far end of Helmand right now, you know, it's taken time for security to come here, and it will take time, and they will build out from the centres, as you know, and hence it's probably quite confusing for the local elders that you see walking away. You know, they don't know what to believe.
They were furious though, weren't they?
Yeah. And then we turn up for 5 minutes and...
In some, so far off the beaten track it's difficult to imagine how they survive. The elders were in no mood to even indicate that they wanted for anything.
When was the last time you saw ISAF forces here?
They have this conversation with the Russians.
No, this is the first time.
Whatever, or for how long? A year?
They said that just the Russians come there.
Oh,
but nothing.
First from the Russians. Have they seen anyone from the government of Afghanistan here?
The Pathfinders have reached the furthest point on their first operation.
70, ready for Delta.
Roger, first grid, 41 Sierra Papa Romeo. 83539, read back.
The mission is taking its toll on the men and their equipment.
Give a smile, Rory.
Just keeping going is tough out here. They're only 7 days into a mission scheduled to last 42.
You alright, Chris?
Yeah, I'm alright. Yourself?
Good.
Used to?
Yes, mate.
Good.
The wear and tear on the trucks is becoming a real problem. The management computer on a vehicle has died. Stuck in the desert, the Pathfinder's mechanic, Mick Turner, plans to hotwire the truck. It'll drive, but it's an unreliable running repair. Impossible to know when it will break down.
Speed yard, basically. It'll start, but it's a temporary measure. And hopefully that'll get us back to one of the fobs.
The four-wheel drive system on one of the others has cracked. It can't be fixed. It will have to be towed.
If I unplug it and just throw it in bird, back onto yours, bird. How long are you going to be here? The second one has just come in today. I've got a crack in the rear diff. Nothing I can do like that out here.
How long do you need to fix the vehicle?
Matt Taylor has decided it would be best to return to FOB Edinburgh.
And that's possible for anything up to 4x4.
Stand by.
Into the evening, the Pathfinders work to get the trucks into some type of running order.
We're then going to leave the the vehicles that are down, we'll leave them in Edinburgh, and then we're going to reinsert back into the ops box with just 11 vehicles.
The only way back is the way they came, through the Zamindavar choke point and the Taliban. Some of the soldiers are unhappy that with one truck broken and a second unreliable, they're losing firepower. I am, after all, occupying a berth that could be manned by a shooter. And by now everyone accepts that there will be a violent confrontation at some point in the coming hours. While the Jackals are capable of climbing incredibly steep shale-covered slopes, pulling the dead weight of a second truck is nigh on impossible.
It's not plain sailing out there. People are going to have dramas.
As I start to pull the strain, then you start driving then, so minimise your wheel slip.
We try to double tow, and as you know, you've got the weight pulling back, the weight going forward. I was right at the front. I heard a shout. I looked around.
It's going over. It's gone? It's gone. Which wagon? The second one.
That's when I thought, this is all we need, basically. Not only are we towing a vehicle, we've now got another road vehicle.
Right, let's get this on hook. Let's get this one pulled up.
Quite an awkward situation to be in, because especially, you know, the heat, the fact that we're in the middle of a marked DF position for the Taliban.
We've got to get her back up on here, mate.
We knew there was a lot of Taliban forces literally just over the mountain. And when that toppled over, we knew obviously it was going to be a big delay, and we were quite vulnerable.
The key is to get the convoy on its way and over into the Zamindavar Valley.
So one of the trucks has something of a bodge job to keep it going. One has completely stopped working, one has turned over. Our truck is now towing the one that's completely broken. And on the other side of us, this is the valley where the Taliban have been firing at us when we first arrived. It's quite a difficult day already, what with the accidents that have happened, and we've got to go down there.
The soldiers are calling it the Valley of Death. The only way out, back through the Zamindavar choke point. We've been out for 7 days now. We're expecting an ambush, and we're towing a disabled vehicle.
We knew it was coming. We had intelligence feeds to say it was coming.
Before you go into areas, you get a bit of a twitch.
Looking around thinking, where's it going to come from? When's it going to happen? Because you're expecting it.
They're running in.
And when it does kick off, it's almost like a relief.
That's a guy.
The main priority at that stage is to get that vehicle, especially the one, the tow vehicle, get them out of the area quickly, and then let the fighting vehicles deal with the contact itself.
Yeah, but I've got to get this wagon out of here. I've got a towing wagon.
It's so hard to target a fleeting enemy just for one round and off he goes.
With your camera.
You know, they had pre-planned points where they knew they could get into, and we'd hardly ever see them. We'd just see the fire and then it'd be gone again. You know, the odd rocket, and then it'd be gone, they'd move on.
Okay, I'm going to get you to fire in position.
We reach a protective hill, but as we leave, we're lined up for attack by an RPG.
Stand by.
It misses by a few feet.
Stand by. Give me comms, for fuck's sake.
The Pathfinder's engaged, but he's gone. Then, as we try to move off again, the tow rope breaks.
Okay, coming back, calm down, coming back.
Trying to direct comms for across the line, and then I get vehicle down, and that's all I heard.
This gun going.
Is that the towed vehicle down? Is that the vehicle towing down? Is that another vehicle we've lost?
Clear! Good. Keep going, calm down. Just come back.
This was actually worse than we thought. We'd skirted around the town, but as we came in from one of the more extreme angles as soon as we arrived, we were engaged with RPGs and small arms fire almost instantaneously. And we've basically been trying to drive these two trucks through, getting support from the Pathfinders on either side of us, but it's been crossover fire. It's been pretty horrendous, to be honest. And it's still going on.
You've got one point of contact on it. The other thing's split. You've got another one.
No, let's go. Do you want to go now? Let's wait till they sort this out.
Yeah.
And then we'll fucking do it, okay?
Alright, just stand by for the water's coming in. That's 1-5 up there, and then you 1-2-2
Get
here.
Mark to shout to me, because the net's busy.
Yeah, mate, the other gun's fucked, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Ahead, the soldiers want to guide us through, trying to protect the damaged vehicle. There's incoming from left and right. The situation actually gets worse. The weapons on the towed vehicle have jammed. There's only one working, and it's in front of me. Under fire, Toby Meacham struggles to take it away.
Hey, stop firing. I'm trying to get this one off now. Hold it. They've got it covered. Right, mate. You good to go? Okay, mate. Okay.
Tony, what you want?
Yeah, I see.
Sausage.
Okay.
Fire point!
Stand by!
We break cover again. With the other jackals putting down covering fire, we make for the safety of the open desert, followed by machine guns and mortars.
Okay, I'll go slow. Look, we got strike on the right.
It was a close shave, but the Pathfinders are elated. Their luck held once again.
The phrase that the blokes have termed, I don't know if you've heard it since we've been out here, it's called the PF bubble. And it was something we'd coined when we were back here last time. And it never seems to, regardless how bad it gets or how much fire was, coming down, the blokes who were there never seemed to get a scratch.
At this stage, we left the Pathfinders. Within days, the bubble burst. At the Musakala Wadi, Sergeant Scotty Patterson's truck is hit by an IED. He's medevaced by helicopter to Camp Bastion for emergency surgery, leaving the soldiers in the field. September, and we rejoin the Pathfinders as their tour draws to a close.
We're your new recruit, sir.
A group of British politicians have come on a fact-finding mission. The brigade commander brings them to meet the Pathfinders and to try out their weapons.
It's very much a relaxed 45 minutes.
They're the first Western civilians the soldiers have seen since May.
And it's all what we have for you as well.
That's safety catch.
Safety catch, yeah.
Is that on safe now?
That's on safe now.
So
that's single shot, then flick it again to automatic.
Single shot.
They're accommodating, but it all seems a bit surreal after months of fighting in the desert. They're not absolutely sure what to do with them.
Above my head where the hole.
There's more of the bastards.
Needs to go lock off first.
The stock at the back is you can make it as long or as short as you want it as well.
Yeah, I need a bit longer.
You've got your helmet on the wrong way round, so.
You're right. Because my manly physique, you see in this one.
Yeah.
No.
You have other ones.
Thank you very much.
And were you filming that inglorious episode?
No.
Turbin Pak Fabrikai Kajaki Samim Khan Fabrik Mega.
Thanks a lot. That was a successful mission. Thank you very, very much.
The Pathfinders, true to their name, have hit the headlines. They found a safe route up to the Kajaki Dam for an enormous electricity turbine. Governor Mangle has come to Camp Bastion to say thanks.
We were getting the atmospherics in the area, and we were in the vicinity of the Gorak Pass on the high ground, but next to a road, and the patrol commander was identified that there was a lot of traffic on it. So he stopped the traffic, and one local national spoken to said, "Yeah, this is a significant route between Kajaki and Kandahar, and it's pretty quiet." And it was sort of, hang on a minute, you know, clearly I passed it up. And it developed from there.
It's the biggest land manoeuvre by the British military since World War II, and quite a coup. The turbine could provide electricity for the whole region, winning the hearts and minds of the people in its purest form. It's a great help to Helmand's top politician.
The media would like to speak to us.
He has the support of the British government as he's seen as honest. Downing Street has promised to give him military muscle. They call this a rolling stand to. It goes back hundreds of years. Soldiers ready for action before the sun comes up. No more remote routes for the Pathfinders. It's mid-September, and this operation is near Marja, just 7 miles from British headquarters in Lashkar. This time the platoon is in support of regular army units. There's only 2 weeks left on their tour.
It's alright, I hate your driving. That was fucking nice and steady, that.
And the soldiers are not particularly pleased with their new conventional role. There's a change in tactics now. The men will be operating almost exclusively in the farmlands of the Green Zone, probing into villages and communities known to support the Taliban and the poppy-growing drug gangs.
I see it as though the majority of the people that they work in these sort of villages are Taliban, but they're only Taliban the moment they pick up their weapon system. When they don't do that, they're just back to being sick pop. That's how I see it. You know, they're everywhere. People will tell you what you want to hear, and then the moment your back's turned, that's when they're fighting you again.
The threat of an IED attack is high. Every Pathfinder move now takes hours, sweeping for mines or bombing. It's an absolute necessity. A sign of the times, they've been joined by Afghan Task Force soldiers, the ATF, to show the face of the Afghan government and to interact with the local people. We know we're going to be attacked. It's just a matter of when and where. The man on the ridgeline is a threat. He could be spotting. He could have a detonator.
They're light on the feet. You know, they can move around. They're just fantastic. I think what we're doing is we're fighting almost a conventional war against guerrilla warfare. So, and they're just finding the gaps that we're giving them.
The floor's rock hard, so there's probably a bit of metal underneath there. Probably been there for years, you know what I mean? It's been compacted, but you still got to have a look on you because you never know. So.
This highly irrigated area was actually built by the United States in the 1960s to increase the wheat yield.
He's carrying his son.
It worked. The yield levels soared. They still are. The problem is, the crop's changed. It's now the opium poppy. In a country that provides 90% of the world's heroin, Helmand provides 90% of Afghanistan's opium. They're in the midst of the latest harvested crop. Elders and Pathfinders discuss the way ahead.
Ask them how the system works for, growing and selling a poppy.
They said that when we grow poppy, so when we collect that, so we get this all to Marja, and we sell there in Marja in the market.
Their choice to grow it. They're not being made to grow it.
Yeah.
The local population may be convinced to grow wheat if it's bought at the guaranteed inflated price. But the Taliban and their partners in drugs have no intention of giving up here. It guarantees conflict. The Pathfinders approach a compound near Marja, which is 6 miles from the British headquarters.
I saw a puff smoke.
The Taliban are in a series of buildings near a wooded area.
Flag up to the right where the wall floats down.
Were fired on from at least 2 positions.
See where that come from, yeah? No.
It's difficult to know where from.
Far side, far side. Far left. Yeah, Stop it!
Some from the left, some from the right.
Yeah. I need to cover him across.
In this heat and dust, the machine guns can jam.
Ronnie, just scoot out of the flyover, yeah?
The incoming intensifies.
Right, we got incoming and it seems to be coming from further left, I'm guessing, see left, that complex there? Look left, gap in there, have a look at that.
Old battle indicators were women and children fleeing before the fighting started.
Seen.
Not anymore.
Looks like women and kids.
They're still in there.
Women and children.
The Pathfinders reposition before they attack once again. Across Helmand, British troops are involved in these firefights daily. The talk is of reconstruction.
That was an RPG incoming overhead.
But this is the reality. There simply aren't enough British or American forces to snuff it out.
Guys who are squatting down and fucking running.
A clear message from commanders. They need more men.
I think there's a recognition that more soldiers would stabilise areas here that remain dangerous more quickly. Currently, we've got deployed in the region of 4,000 troops, supporting 4,000 Afghan soldiers. I think we could probably easily consume in Helmand another brigade.
And a brigade would be a full-strength brigade?
It would be in the region of 3,000 to 4,000 soldiers.
Where'd that strike? What did we say about that compound? Got a bit of place.
It's the Pathfinder's final mission. We gave Corporal Tim Rice a camera of his own, mounted on his .40 caliber grenade machine gun. It provides a unique view of the last battle as it plays out. It's now close quarter fighting in the Taliban compound near the town of Nad Ali.
Not seen. Stand by, fire now.
As we approached the town, we kept pushing forward to sort of, really find out where they were and keep them involved as much as we could. We came under fire from quite a few positions.
They could be fucking... Guys, we'll get fucking flanked here, mate.
We'd been shuffling ourselves around, but we were limited in space.
Stand by for 66!
We had to keep them engaged so we could, effectively reduce their capability to keep attacking us.
Move! What's my strike? Yeah, I'm doing that where I think that fire was coming from.
The RPGs were getting closer and closer with each one, and the cracks of the rounds were getting pretty nasty as well.
Yeah, incoming! Got that? Yeah, fucking hell, that hit that fucking wall. Stand by for javelin!
Tim has problems with the American ammunition.
Fucking yank rounds! Are they British behind you? Get them in. Yeah, wait.
As the incoming intensifies, he gets increasingly frustrated, unable to fire back.
There it is! See the smoke? Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Fucking yank rounds! Pat's moving in the tree line!
In those crucial moments, his defences are down.
The bursts were getting, getting pretty close.
Yeah, wait up!
And you could hear that the cracks were getting louder. And you could feel the percussions as they were going past.
Never again make firing fucking yank rounds.
And then the burst came in.
Got 9 boxes, but these yank rounds are shit, they're not firing. Ah! Been fucking shot! Man down! Man down!
Getting shot in the leg was just like having your leg sledgehammered from underneath you. Really, just the violence in which the bullet hit bone and hit leg.
Move! Fucking move, come on! Move! Move!
I was quite conscious of getting shot again.
Come on! Keep moving! Keep moving!
I had fallen up against the gap in the door where the bullet had come through. In this few seconds after, I was thinking, shit, I don't want another one to come through here. So I was shouting, get the fucking vehicle moving, let's get out of there.
Gunshot wound, lower left leg, below the knee.
Colchester, home to the 16th Air Assault Brigade, the Pathfinder's mission to Afghanistan is over. They return to a chilly, autumnal Essex. 6 months in the desert, and there's a real sense of, is that it, amongst the men? Tim Rice is undergoing rehabilitation. Shot through the leg, his injury wasn't as serious as it might have been. He was lucky. Rehab 2 for Sergeant Scotty Patterson. Blown out of his jackal by an IED in July, he survived. His legs were smashed to pieces. This is a big day for Scotty.
So you're going to keep most of the weight going through your arms.
He's trading in his Zimmer frame for crutches.
Coordination.
It's taken months of hard work, but he's making an incredible recovery.
I pretty much remember everything. I remember coming out the wadi and then bang, just remember this ringing in my ears. I remember subconsciously just thinking, go with it. And then the next thing I knew was I was coming to on the ground, shaking around thinking, oh, the fuck was that? Like a bit dazed and dipped, like a heavy parachute landing or something. And then I got on my elbows and I was looking up and I could just see this dust cloud everywhere. And then I tried to stand up and I realised my legs were just dragging behind me. I thought, oh, legs are broken, I think. And then the lads got over, Bernie banged a morphine in me. I said, oh, give me another one, Bernie, just to make sure. So he banged another one in and that was the end of it. I was high as a kite. And then I woke up in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, and there was a Danish woman massaging my toes. As I was coming to make sure the blood was flowing, I was like, oh, fucking hell, where am I?
The Pathfinders are experienced soldiers. They're used to the toughest aspects of touring Afghanistan. But more importantly, it's what they actually want to do. There's much debate about the treatment and demands placed on all military personnel deployed to this most dangerous place of operations. But this platoon, even in the toughest of times, never once questioned what they were doing or why. It's just what they do. A post-tour drink is a tradition as binding as any of the Army codes of conduct. It's the final act of the deployment, and it'll get pretty messy. The soldiers will part after this, some to other jobs. The 60 years of Pathfinder history is embodied in these young men. They're just carrying that on, finding their own paths along the way.